Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and this video is a little bit off topic, but in this channel I want to show my review videos and do a wide range of topics. So today will be about Geico insurance and my personal experience trying to get a quote. So, full disclosure, I recently, about 6 months ago, shut down my personal auto insurance office. I was located in New York, and for decades, Geico cut into our business heavily. My agency just could not compete with their prices. They were all these years to most people just giving it away, and to certain people who I felt shouldn't have qualified for such a great price because of their driving records. So what could we do about it as an independent agent? Nothing, because no other companies pretty much bothered to compete with Geico, because Geico is heavily backed by a big hedge fund, Berkshire Hathaway, and insurance companies are funny. They run through cycles. Sometimes they want to generate and take in a lot of income premiums, and they'll give away the price until they decide that it's time to stop taking in premiums, depending on the loss ratio, and then they'll put a either raise the premium or get stricter with their criteria for you being able to be accepted by them. So all that is well and good. All insurance companies play that game, but Geico was the biggest, most notorious violator in manipulating that game by just doing power moves. I mean, if my customers saved $100, $200 in a policy versus what I could offer them at Geico, they most times would prefer to stay with me for the loyalty, the convenience that I provided, and pretty much the peace of mind knowing that I've had the same relationship with them for years through various companies. I always try to find them savings by shopping around and telling them how to save. But when they're saving over 300, when they're saving $1,000, when they're saving this ridiculous amount of money, I cannot compete. And all I could say to them is, go with Geico, good luck, and we're here if you ever need us. So some people came back to us because after the 6 months romance period with Geico, they sometimes decided to just non-renew, or a claim came up or two and they decided to jump the price up a little bit. Then probably about 10% of the people that left for Geico would come back to me, and it would be hard for them because they were saving so much money, and the only thing I could offer them was realistic, or what I would say realistic prices for their situation. And what's their situation? Driving record, area where they live is a big factor, and the state. The state imposes, really dictates how much the policy is going to be. So with that said, I closed my insurance office because recession and, oh, I can't say that R word, pandemic, and just the basically companies like Geico giving away insurance, and it doesn't make sense to me. The amount of advertising that they spend on, and then the premium that they get in, no independent agents to pay, and to tell you the truth, the service was horrible. But if you're saving $1,000, you're not going to be too picky on hearing stories about how they had trouble paying out a claim, or this and that. You're looking for your number one, and this is what my customers It's the number one priority is save money, because auto insurance for them is like the second or third largest bill outside of their rent. It's in a impoverished community where everybody is struggling. Insurance is not a luxury. It's something that is mandated on them in order for them to drive a car. So that's my situation. Our agency was a family business. It lasted over 35 years. It was a blessing. Last few years were a struggle. Geico took a big chunk, but we were still able to stay in business. Even though we weren't getting rich, we were paying the bills for the last few years. And then when it came to the point where it just wasn't worth working just to pay the bills, we decided to close. So, already I'm rambling. Hopefully I'm not losing you, but the long story is it that right now I decided to get a quote with Geico because right now I'm looking to save maximum money. And even though I have a policy with another popular insurance company and I am the agent and I'm receiving 10% commission from my own policy, I'm looking to see if I could save money. So with that, I went to the most notorious of them all, which I never thought I will. I went and got an online quote with Geico. Quickly, I put in my information and I got an amazing quote. So, me being in the industry, I know it's not the end. I want to see if they're teasing me with this quote and if they really go through with it, because obviously the numbers to me is too good to be true. It's like saving half of what I'm paying now. So I get the quote, I go and I say, okay, I'm going to purchase this. So I go, put my credit card info, this and that. Screen comes up. Oh, there was an error. Oh, we're having trouble processing your information. Please call a local agent or contact this 1-800 number. So I get a screenshot and a 1-800 number. Okay. I run out of time. I go back 2 days later to the quote. I'm still getting emails telling me that I have a pending quote, that I should contact local agent or go through the app or buy it online. So I said, okay, I got some time now. Let me go see if that quote is still lingering or what's the issue. So I go into the quote and I go online. I try to log in and then that screen comes up again. Oh, contact this 1-800 number or visit a local agent via this link. So I don't want to go to a local agent. I want to buy it online. So I go to the 1-800 number, I call. I answer the questions. Auto insurance, yes. This and that. Have you ever been with Geico in the last 6 months? No. This, that. And then it comes down to zip code. What zip code are you in? I put in my zip code where I plan to insure the cars. And abruptly it says, oh, we are no longer selling insurance over the phone for that zip code. Please contact the local agent. And I'm like, wow. No longer making sales over the phone for the zip code? What is it, my zip code or my state? So I go for a quick search online, and apparently Geico has halted phone sales for auto insurance in several states, and New York being one of them. So I'm like, wow, that's, how long has this going? Since 2022. So I've kind of been out of it, of the Geico news for a while, and I didn't receive any feedback from my customers about this. Then again, my customer base shrunk, and there was less interactions with customers in the last, let's say, year or 6 months before I closed the office. So apparently phone sales are gone. I've had situations when they were giving away Geico insurance policies where I had a customer at the counter in my agency, and simultaneously, and this was always annoying, and I really didn't like it because I had a hatred for Geico. So simultaneously, the customer would be on their cell phone while I'm doing a quote for them. They come into my office for a quote. I'm doing a quote on the computer, asking all these questions, having to deal with the computer, the speed, and whatnot. And they're on the phone actually getting a quote simultaneously with Geico. And I hear this. And they have no shame. I'm in a neighborhood where people really don't have too much etiquette or self-awareness. They just there trying to get the cheapest insurance, and they're not shy about having Geico on the phone while they're talking to you in your face. And that's pretty annoying, and I don't miss that at all. So when that happened, they would get the policy right there. And sometimes, and I can't say this for 100% certainty, but I think at one point Geico wouldn't even take a credit card. They would just issue the policy and issue you a bill in the mail. And this might have been several years ago, but I think that's how it worked at one point. Can't say for sure. This is only a foggy memory. But long story short, they made it very easy to call on the phone, get a super deal, and the customer was happy. I look like a crook. I look like I charge too much, and that would be my place. And that customer would leave with such a bad feeling about my agency, thinking, man, they're so overpriced there. It's a ripoff, this and that, And I would be stuck in that position of being faced in that situation when even my best companies could not even come close to Geico. And they had stronger criteria for accepting people with my direct companies. And the plan, which the plan is another option. It's like last hope option to place insurance, where the state kind of helps you place insurance. That's super expensive, but you're guaranteed placement of insurance, even though it's at a high rate. You'll walk out of my office with insurance no matter what your situation, most times, as long as you have an active license and under freaking 10 points. It's just, you better have a bag full of money. So that was Geico. Cutting the legs out of insurers, put a lot of my colleagues went out of business, and it eventually contributed putting me out of business, basically. So now I'm out of business. I'm looking to save money, cut my cost, because things are tight. So I call Geico, and they tell me they don't sell insurance on the phone. So apparently this news comes up back in 2022. I didn't realize that Geico closed all of its 38 California agents' office. Now, 38 offices in California is a drop in the bucket. I mean, they started maybe 10 years ago with these little pop-up Geico agencies. I have one locally, and I've always wondered, how does that agent make money? Because if they're giving away insurance, how are you going to make, what kind of percentage they're paying? Usually the agency, what I get paid for my companies is 10% off the premium. So I would estimate, I said, well, for every one customer of mine, I would have to sell like 3 to 4 Geico policies to make the commission I make with one customer at what I consider normal prices outside of Geico. And And I thought about that and I said, man, if one customer I have to service to make a certain amount and another customer, and then on the Geico, I would have to have 4 customers to make that same premium. That's more people I have to service, more phone calls, more generation of mail and higher cost. And I wonder if they're allowed to charge a broker's fee. And even the state limits your how much you can charge for a broker's fee unless you are a direct company. So I don't know the rules with Geico if you can charge a broker's fee on top of the policy, because I would assume you have to, because how are they going to pay the bills of a fancy agency, franchise agency, which apparently it says in this article that they pay up to $100,000 or $250,000 to open an office. And it's just not opening an office. You're paying that to Geico to open the office. And then you're signing a lease. And it's probably a multi-year commercial lease, which once you get into a commercial lease, you're really stuck in that commercial lease. There's very few protections for a commercial lease. And you're signing on to a bunch of expenses running a business. So how are they gonna drop that money and sell? They have to do massive volume in that office, which means one agent and employee is going to be very busy just trying to make enough premium in our area to have a comfortable lifestyle, or they're gonna have to hire several agents and start with salaries. You're gonna have accounting, you're gonna have to split commissions and deal with such a volume that the workload might be a little overwhelming. I mean, some of my customers would contact me several times a week. Some customers, I wouldn't hear from them till the end of the policy for their renewal. But the few that were active and really filled my day with work. So I can't imagine multiplying my customer base to make the same amount of money just because I have a Geico. So I just didn't get that. And apparently it doesn't work, because they're closing down their measly 38 California agents. California is a huge state. 35 agencies in California is nothing. I wonder how many offices Allstate has. They probably have 10,000 in California. I'm just guessing. But yeah, so apparently it doesn't work, and now they're trying to stop the bleeding. And I don't know how they could stop the bleeding anymore, because Geico was notorious for not paying out. They were notorious for assigning blame. Nobody was 100% at fault. I mean, nobody was 100% not at fault. They always assigned fault to everyone. They tried to assign fault to me when my mailbox got hit by a Geico insured, when he crashed into the street pole, and damaged my mailbox and my bush in front of the house. They wouldn't want to pay. I told them, you need to pay. I'm going to complain to the auto insurance regulators in the state if they didn't. And that's the only thing that scares them, because they don't like complaints from the state. So then they say, oh, you have to bring in you have to come to the claims office, the local. I said, what am I going to come to the claims office for you to do an estimate on my mailbox? It's broken in 20 pieces on the floor. This is not a car where I could bring it into your adjuster's office and you claim, so you could do you're going to have to send someone and do an estimate and then pay out the claim. And of course, I'm going to get an independent I'm going to get a contractor to independently look at it and see how much it costs to fix that. And we'll go from there. So finally, they relented and paid the last minute. So this is how they hold on to the money. They take the premium, they hold on to it, and don't want to let it go. And yes, that's what all insurance companies do. But Geico was notorious for pushing this to the absolute limit. And this is how they withhold the premium. They invest it in other things, make money off your money, and then always when they needed more money, they take in more premium. It's a machine. It's not even about running Geico as a business that's profitable. They'll operate at a loss, and that'll be acceptable to them because they keep taking in premium. It's not anymore. And they had a history of doing this in New Jersey. They got kicked out of Jersey many years ago, 20 years ago. And instead of doing the right thing, they decided to accept being banned from Jersey. So now they're at a crossroads. They closed all these agencies and a cost cutting. And then recently, as of August 22, 23, this article comes out that they're going another round of massive layoffs, and that the employees are reporting on social media, and the employees can't really talk too much because apparently they're under some sort of gag order. So these independent or these Geico agents that open these agencies, they're not saying a word because they have a gag order. So this is why you're not hearing them complain about what Geico is doing to them, because basically you think you own your agency, you paid for it, you opened it, and Geico corporate comes in and says, we're shutting you down, you have no job, you can't sell insurance, and you're done. So why do they keep quiet? Well, I assume they're promising some kind of package to compensate them in some way, hopefully, because that's kind of rough. You know, these people put their eggs in the Geico basket, and now Geico took the basket away, took the eggs, and these people are at the mercy of what Geico plans to do. And in the meantime, they can't say anything, but in the meantime, they have bills, they have commercial leases that they're obligated to, and everything else. It's just S show. So Geico, I got my quote, and they were happy to take all my personal info, social security, date of birth, name, address, into the system, probably knowing darn well that they weren't going to offer me a quote, or they got to make me jump through more hoops. Shouldn't be this difficult to buy insurance. I should be able to buy insurance quickly and immediately. So they were happy to take my info, knowing that they probably weren't going to give me insurance, because they tell you that they could use your information for other things, meaning they're going to use my info now to sell and market for other things. And I guess by putting in my quote and agreeing to that, I agreed to it. So they kind of screwed me over before I even gave them $1, and I'm already got screwed. So I am going to go with a more traditional company and see if I could get a lower rate. And I was spared going to Geico, which morally I didn't want to do because of what they did in the industry all these years to hurt my business. But the price was so good. And if you're looking to save money in these tough times, I almost got caught. I know full well that I probably wouldn't have been happy with them, even though I saved a bunch of money with Geico. So, you know, I always said never trust a lizard with a British accent. And I think I got lucky by finally almost falling for the Geico lure of cheap insurance, but then being rejected because they're having major financial troubles. And believe me, this is major. This is major, and nobody wants to talk about it. And all the other companies in the industry are like shaking their head and saying, it's about time. It's about time. And the people are going to be in for sticker shock that got all those cheap quotes and cheap insurance that they brag about to their friends. Party's over, people. Party's over. I'm not happy that you're going to pay as much as us, the regular people, non-Geico people. But welcome to reality, my friend. Welcome to reality. Until the next Geico comes along, you better get ready to pay that insurance and maybe put off that new car purchase pretty soon. So this was a long video. If you stay to the end, respect. Give me a like and subscribe. I hope to put out some interesting content. And if you're interested in more insight into my experience as an insurance broker, owning an agency as a family business for 35 years, let me know. Maybe I'll do some more videos on that, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.